Welcome to the 2022 primary election videos made possible in partnership between Collin County Votes, which is an initiative of the Collin County Business Alliance, and the Allen, Frisco, McKinney, and Plano Chambers of Commerce. I'm Leanne Libby, General Manager of Community Impact Newspaper in Plano, and I'm excited to introduce our viewers to Representative Justin Holland. He's running for House District 33. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Well, we'll jump right into the questions. So the first one is, tell us in your own words, what is the role of a state legislator?
Well, it's an important role and one that I take very seriously. I'm going into hopefully my fourth term, and you learn a little bit more each time, each session about what it is to be a state representative. But most of all, you have to be able to switch back and forth from, being a policymaker, a legislator, a lawmaker, and also dealing with the casework that comes with that. So we spend usually 5 months or 6 months in Austin, legislating, making laws, and passing a conservative budget. And then we spend the rest of the time back at home, living under the same laws that we made with the communities that sent us there. So it's important to make sure that you have a pulse on that community, that you know the nonprofit groups and the chamber groups and all the church groups and business community, and what is important to them. You touch a lot of state agencies being a state representative and being a citizen taxpayer voter. And so being able to help with the casework and having a good staff is important to me. We have a 100% meeting policy with somebody on the staff. I hire tremendous people to work for me to handle casework with the various state agencies. And so I think to sum it up, is making sure that you understand that not only you have a responsibility to take the wishes of the people that sent you there and vote the way that they want you to, but also to come back and be able to help them when they need your help in the time when we're not in Austin.
Could you share with us your top 2 to 3 legislative priorities?
Well, next session is a bit different for me. For the first time, I have been appointed to the Texas Sunset Advisory Commission. I'm the vice chair of that. I was recently appointed to a 4-year term by the speaker, so a lot of my focus will be dealing with the state agencies that are up for review in this coming review cycle. The vice chair of the Sunset Commission is the head lead person for the Texas House. And so I kind of quarterback the bills that are up. Just to give you an example, the Public Utility Commission of Texas, ERCOT, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, some of the veterinary boards, the Texas Water Development Board, and various river authorities and water authorities are up. And so a great deal of my time will be spent on the enacting legislation of continuing on certain state agencies. And so, as an individual state representative, I have a focus on making sure that our office does as good of a job as we can on making sure that Texas government is running efficiently and effectively for the citizens of Texas. And so that's quite an honor to get to do that. It's a big, heavy lift that we're going to be working on. And so I'll be making sure that I'm working with the Senate side and Dr. Charles Schwertner, who's the chair this session, on making sure that we have the right people carrying the right bills and that the right changes are getting made in the sunset process. Child protective services and foster care continues to be a concern of mine as I talk to people in the district. And so I would say that there's a lot of things that are both state process related, as well as funding related, as well as pandemic, post pandemic related, that we need to be looking at our child care, child protective services, and foster care systems. The Texas Military Department and Department of Public Safety, as well as our game wardens down on the border, continue to be top of mind as we talk about how we tackle the immigration and drug, human sex trafficking crisis at the border. I'm very concerned about the amount of state troopers that we have on highways. We have a lot that are at the border, and I want to continue to make sure that we are recruiting and have the recruit schools in place and the funding in place for making sure that we continue to grow our force as we have anywhere from 300 to 600 troopers that are reaching retirement age and phasing out, that we have the appropriate number to keep our Texas highways and our communities safe from a public safety perspective, as well as being responsive to the border crisis as well. I sit on the Appropriations Committee, which was a wonderful opportunity to see how the peel back the layers of the state government and see how things are really run. I'm on the article subcommittees for general government, public safety, and the Texas Military Department as well. And so I really like the mechanics, as you can tell from the sunset and the appropriations process, of how state government works. And I have some things that have concerned me that I've just recently brought up, and I think that those will be top of mind among property taxes, in a way to continue to buy down the school ISD maintenance and operations rate to make the cost of living in the North Texas area, Collin and Rockwall counties, more affordable, not only for the young families, but for senior citizens as they age out to a fixed income.
Well, so we know Collin County has been growing at a rapid rate. It's one of the fastest growing counties in the country. Briefly share your thoughts with us on the growth to date, and what would your priorities be going forward?
Well, the growth is tremendous, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. I happen to be in the real estate business. Um, I'm a second generation real estate broker, and so I've seen the growth over the last 15 years in our area, Rockwall County and Collin County booming. The biggest things that we need to be concerned about and keep on top of mind are our infrastructure, funding for transportation, how the best way to manage that is, and the mechanisms for funding that from the state level. Public and state, state and local uh, relationships and partnerships on how we can fund as many of those projects through our state budget as possible, to keep local taxes low and property taxes low. I mean, property tax continues to be a big problem, but if we put the all of the roads and infrastructure on the backs of the local governments, it's going to be hard to slow that growth of property taxes. We're not oblivious to the fact that values continue to rise, and so it's just having people there to manage, uh, making sure that we've got water, wastewater, roads, and all of the things it takes to get people from point A to point B, for business to thrive, for families to thrive, and people move to the areas because of our schools. And so my commitment to public education remains stronger than ever right now, making sure that we're fully funding our schools, public schools in Texas. I believe we have a constitutional uh, a responsibility to the students and the teachers and retired teachers of the state of Texas to make sure that their commitment and the things that they've given to our state and continue to give are funded and honored by the legislators. And that's one of the things that I commit to do.
So, what do you see as the top needs for the business community, and what would you do to help meet those needs to ensure continued economic growth?
Well, one of the biggest kinks that's been thrown in the business community is how we continue to shift and be flexible from the post-pandemic effects of the COVID-19 virus. There's no end in sight for that right now in terms of the way that we have to be flexible. A couple of big things that we've done, I think, are going to help. Are, for one, we're flexible. We can see on a microcosm of that, the Texas restaurant community and industry, as well as tourism and travel, were hit big. And so, we were able to do some things in the law that helped them be more flexible in the way that they served their food or sold their uh, alcohol to go. Was one of the regulations that was lifted, and then we made it a law. So I think what we see is we listen to the small businesses and see what it is, what's really holding you back. I mean, I'm not trying to overgeneralize this, but to be accessible to these small businesses and hear what it is. What can we do to get out of your way so that you can run your business? Because Texas is is growing at such a fast rate because other states aren't doing it. We're doing it right in Texas, and we have for many years. And so the way that we do things here is we have a predictable regulatory environment that the state lawmakers and state leaders are open to flexibility to changing if needed. If we see that it helps, we're not trying to get red tape in the way of our small businesses. And I think that you saw that this last session. We were able to make a number of changes to the way that things were done, not only uh, in travel tourism and hospitality, but also in healthcare. As you saw, some changes to prescription drug costs, teledentistry, telehealth, and the way that you go to the doctor on a phone app rather than clogging up waiting rooms and doctors' rooms. There's ways that we can be flexible, and it's just being accessible to listen to the businesses.
Great. So we have three questions left. In the interest of time, I want to make sure we get to all three of them. So I'll ask for a brief
Okay.
answer on this next one because you've already kind of answered it and addressed it. We're talking about transportation
Okay.
again. So if you
Sure.
could pick one, kind of what is the largest transportation issue facing Collin County?
Well, it always has been, in my opinion, the tolls, and the way that those are handled and the way that they're funded. I will say that I have a new part, hopefully, that I'll be representing of the district that is unlike some of the other state representatives in Collin County. The way that House District 33 is drawn in the new map, most of the cities excluding Plano and Richardson, are smaller, growing cities. So a Murphy, Wiley, and Saxe are very similar to a Rockwall, Fate, Heath, Royce City, and so some of these cities haven't yet hit these levels of rapid growth, like the area of Frisco or Plano, that have already been hit by the tolls. And so that's but I don't have a solution for that. I'll say that it's an age old question of the best way to get people around without them having to come out of pocket more. I wish I had an answer to the fact that people can't drive around in Collin County without hitting a toll road.
Thank you. So the business community and many of the organizations representing it have prioritized equity and diversity through their hiring practices, programs, and their community investments. Because Collin County is such a diverse area in every sense of the word, can you talk about what equity and diversity mean to you?
Well, sure. To me, it's just it starts at the household, at the table with parents and the way that they teach their kids, and how we run our businesses and how we run our chambers of commerce and the small groups and the nonprofits. I think it's about being a part of community and being accepting of all walks of life, and certainly believe that I want to give my children every opportunity to know, to learn people and to learn different things about different cultures and different upbringings and different ways of life. And I'm not really sure how to answer that question, but just that's not something that the business community can fix. It's something that starts in a person's heart and a person's dinner table and with their churches.
Thank you. Okay, well, so we'll wrap up with one final question. If you were talking to someone from outside of Collin County who was thinking of moving here or moving their business here, what would be your 30-second elevator pitch?
Well, for one, it would be the schools. It's access. You can get pretty much anywhere in 30 to 45 minutes. The recreation is wonderful. There's half a dozen lakes for recreation. We're not far from airports, and it's pretty easy to start a business, and there's a support system for that. In my communities that I represent, I continue to be amazed about the amount of the support system from chambers or nonprofits, and the willingness of local business owners to share and grow with each other. I spoke to a group of 40 veteran business owners last night, and was astounded at how they shared ideas, and they were so supportive of each other. And I can't say enough about the area that we live in. It doesn't need a sales pitch. People are moving here already, and it's the best place, in my opinion, in Texas to live, work, raise a family, start a business, and you don't really have to sell it that much.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Representative Holland, and for speaking directly to our viewers on important issues.
You bet. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to having the support of all those who watch this. And if you have a question specifically about anything that I stand for, or anything on an issue, or a way that I've voted in the past, I'm happy to answer those as well.